Westlife have had fantastic success, you know. We
in this country.
Yeah, but we really, but you know, they do things in America, and we do really respect what they've done because not to sound patronising, but we've done that too. You know, they've not been along. But they've been around as long as the Spice Girls, and it's like, and we are still hungry, but we're not desperate anymore.
Just to crush even more rumours, we've got a third album coming out next year.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a video that delves into one of pop music's most fascinating turning points, the Spice Girls' third and final studio album, Forever.
It's right kind of like on the border of a bit R&B-ish, a bit kind of acoustic-y, got all different little flavours in.
If you're new here, this is the place where I dive deep into all things Spice Girls through rare memorabilia, forgotten treasures, and the stories behind the world's most successful girl band. With related items from my huge array of Spice Girls collectibles, we're going to examine this divisive 2000 album from its stalled inception to its confusing legacy, including how the choices around its release may have affected its success, and how, despite production from top hitmakers and gaining multi-platinum sales status, it is often overlooked in the canon of Spice Girls music. Whether you're a longtime fan or new to the story, you'll find plenty of insight and reflection here to keep you hooked. Forever is the final studio album released by the Spice Girls following Geri Halliwell's departure from the group 2.5 years earlier. It includes 2 UK #1 singles across 3 tracks, with a total of 11 songs. This was the start of the new millennium, and the group had changed their sound, updated their image, and pursued a musical direction which now blended their spicy flavor with an American R&B vibe. Thanks to producers famed for their work with legends such as Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, Destiny's Child, and Whitney Houston.
See, we're fans. Forget it. Every day we come in and we're like, hey, did you write that song? Did you do that one? And they're like, yeah. And we're like, wow.
This isn't just the story of a pop album. It's a journey back to when a legendary music act made a more mature, more introspective, and more personal record that continues to divide fans and critics alike, brought to life through records, posters, and rare memorabilia of the era.
What was your reaction when you first heard Goodbye by the Spice Girls? And this was from Lindsay Leffler, Unionville.
Okay, you know that Goodbye song? You know, I was there when they wrote it. I wrote that with Emma and one other girl and a guy around the piano. And they did develop it, and, you know, and Bunton dedicated to me, so I knew the song already. So, you know, it was very touching to hear it, and it was kind of sentimental. It was sweet. I mean, anyone would think someone's dedicated a song to you, so it was very nice.
When the Spice Girls released their first 2 albums, Spice and Spice World, they were a 5-member global phenomenon with chart-topping hits and unstoppable momentum. But by the time the late 1990s rolled in, things were shifting. Geri Halliwell left the group in 1998, meaning that their third album would be without her. Although the group had begun writing the third album before Geri's departure, the actual studio recording began after, in July of that year. When the girls recorded their Christmas single Goodbye in Nashville during the American leg of their Spice World concert tour. Goodbye was created with the group's main co-writers, Richard "Biff" Stannard and Matt Rowe. Although Geri was around for the beginning of the inception of this song, it was reworked and completed without her, meaning her name never appeared in the song's credits. Writing and recording continued for the group from August 1999 through to summer 2000. Following the huge success of the Goodbye single and a wave of solo projects. Beginning at London's famous Abbey Road Studios, the group worked with old favorite Richard "Biff" Stannard, before moving on to Whitfield Street Studios to work with new producers from America. Darkchild, also known as Rodney Jerkins, had worked with Whitney Houston and Destiny's Child, and actually made Michael Jackson wait so he could fly to the UK to work with the Spice Girls. He had met the girls with Prince in 1998 and stated that he wanted to work with the girls in the future. Following the summer 1999 recording sessions, Virgin Records loved the first Darkchild song so much, they arranged for a second session to create 3 more tracks for the album, this time in Miami. After his intentional absence during sessions for the group's second album Spice World, Say You'll Be There co-writer Elliot Kennedy returned to craft songs with the group for forever. Several songs were made, but only one. The funky and anthemic coming-of-age track Right Back at Ya made the final track list. This was also remixed by Darkchild for inclusion on the record. The other main co-writers and producers of Forever were Jam and Lewis.
For the first time in Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis's 25-year producing career, they've crossed the pond to record here in London with one of the most well-known recording groups in the world.
They contributed 2 tracks to the album during the group's Whitfield studio sessions in 1999, a beautiful, touching, and personal ballad titled Oxygen, and the fun party track If You Want to Have Some Fun.
You want to have some fun?
Oh, maybe, so you want to be the one, you want to get the number.
Let's go back to
In that little gap, maybe something like a cute little giggle or something.
Yeah, okay.
You know, just to fill the gap, but it's still really cute. And
Yeah.
It's really simple.
We're really like crunched for time, so we're like trying to do 2 songs in 4 days, which isn't bad to try to sing that much, but to actually, you know, write the songs from scratch. I mean, them never hearing them before. We actually brought 5 tracks over, picked 2 out of the 5 to do.
With the production leaning largely to an American R&B-inspired sound, the group had shifted their musical direction. But was it so different to their previous records, which had undoubtedly also leaned into R&B at times? Or did it just feel different because it came at such a different time? After all, the nature of the group was changing as rapidly as the landscape of popular music. Had they released an album as pop-tastic as their previous record Spice World, they risked being seen as a group stuck in a previous era. Unable to evolve artistically, they were also maturing as women with developing tastes. As well as half the band becoming mothers, they now had the freedom to explore new solo avenues with new producers, whilst feeling they no longer needed to prove themselves to anyone as a band. All 4 members were writing, recording, and releasing solo music during the incarnation of Forever, so an evolution of their sound as a group was not only natural but unavoidable. By Christmas 1999, the group had written several new songs for the album and previewed 3 of them at their mini-concert tour Christmas in Spice World, which toured to Manchester and London. Amongst their ongoing solo projects, this reunion reignited excitement for the group and the impending 3rd album. The Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis tracks were not included in the tour setlist, but clips of both of those tracks leaked online. The new material showcased on the tour came from the album's other 3 writing houses. Right Back at Ya from the Elliot Kennedy sessions, Holler Holler from the Darkchild sessions, and Woman from the Richard Biff Stannard sessions at Abbey Road. All 3 tracks were well received, but it was Holler Holler that seemed to show the group's maturity the most, and, whilst retaining the group's cheeky and catchy hooks, stood out as being suitably different from their previous releases. By March 2000, no date had been set for the long-awaited 3rd Spice Girls album, but a special performance at that year's Brit Awards gave them another chance to showcase upcoming music. As well as accepting their Outstanding Contribution to Music award, the group performed Holler Holler once again, amongst a handful of their known hits. Sadly, although the recording was broadcast on radio, we never got to see the filmed performance of that one new song. With changing priorities for the girls, Mel C was not present for the Miami Darkchild sessions in April. Her absence was more than just a schedule clash. She had grown away from the others and wanted to focus on her solo career, which had now gained its first UK #1 single with Never Be the Same Again. But aside from her album Northern Star taking off, she was struggling with depression and an eating disorder, following years of grueling work and image-related pressures. She openly admitted she didn't want to be there, and she didn't want to be in the Spice Girls.
I was ill at that time, you know. I was suffering with depression as well as, you know, trying to get over my eating disorder. So I suppose I didn't have the strength to deal with it, to be honest with you. I think that's probably what it was.
Mel C is not credited as a writer on some album tracks. The girls were busy with their own individual lives at this point, as well as dealing with personal struggles. What's also different with Forever is that the song credits were no longer equal. On previous records, the group had a rule that they would all be equally credited on every track, no matter the level of input by each girl to each song. Although the group filmed 2 visually stunning music videos for their AA side launch single, photography for the album artwork, which was shot around the same time, is often criticized. Esteemed fashion photographer Terry Richardson was brought in to capture stunning imagery at a modern house set in beautiful gardens. Despite the glamorous shoot, the images used on the artwork of the record failed to evoke the same iconic feelings of both Spice and Spice World. Although the girls looked beautiful, the branding had changed beyond recognition, with a totally new logo and artwork direction that was an almost divorce from their previous albums, except for the dominance of white as a background. Ultimately, Forever's inception was about change. A changing member lineup, changing millenniums, changing musical tastes, and a change in personal priorities.
We're really excited about the new album. We've worked on a few tracks with the same writers and producers that we did the first and second album, but then we've also done a lot of work with some American producers, Jimmy Jam and Rodney Jerkins. So we've got a more mature sound there as well.
On the 6th of November 2000, Forever, the third Spice Girls album, was released in the UK. It followed the launch single, the AA side Holler and Let Love Lead the Way, which had zoomed straight to #1 on the UK singles chart. With the inclusion of the album's Closer, the Christmas #1 hit Goodbye from 1998. The album already boasted 2 #1 hits at the time of release, just like the group's first album, Spice. Other release dates include the 1st of November in Japan and the 7th of November for USA and Canada. Promotion included a TV advert, magazine print ads, and various gifts sent to media and industry folk. This Indian-style embroidered bag contained promotional CDs, a postcard, and a Forever labeled lip balm. In the USA, the color red was added to the Forever promotional items, including this carrier bag and sports wristbands. In Mexico, this huge vinyl plastic banner promoted the album's release in record stores. Promotional CDs and vinyls were also distributed to industry insiders, including this If You Want to Have Some Fun CD. Let's take a look at the album formats. First up is the UK CD. The sleeve features lyrics and recording information, plus these stunning solo shots of the girls by photographer Terry Richardson. The cassette sleeve features the same imagery and information as the CD, just arranged differently. Customers who purchased the album from the much-missed Woolworth stores could get a free Forever-themed 2001 poster calendar. Woolworths had also given away free Forever postcards and copies of the Holler single CD. To support the album, the group did 2 major magazine shoots and interviews. Firstly, Esquire, who published 4 individual collectible covers starring the individual members. Q magazine featured the group on their cover with a salacious headline. The group had always been outspoken, but at this point their views were coming from women who were surviving fame rather than enjoying it. Their honest approach to the media gave way for more shocking and adult-themed revelations. Prozac, divorce, self-hatred, a headline a million miles away from their teeny pop magazine covers just 4 years earlier. Though this feature gave room for a behind-the-scenes film from the photoshoot, which was used to promote the album with the group officially releasing it along with the track Right Back at Ya.
I think now as a 4-piece we can vocally really challenge ourselves more and also choreography-wise. So I'd say it was better fun than ever. We had more fun writing this album. It's always good to do something different. And I think the Spice Girls have really moved on and have matured. And this album is a reflection of that.
The girls celebrated the album's release with an exclusive launch party at London's Red Cube nightclub. Mel C was at a seriously low point, writing honestly about it in her 2022 autobiography. Drinking in the hotel before the party and again at the club, having a disagreement with Victoria, and bad-mouthing chart rivals Westlife to journalists. The band appeared on the usual music TV shows of the time, alternately performing Holler and Let Love Lead the Way, as documented in this Heat magazine feature that followed the group's filming day at Top of the Pops on 12th October. The biggest performance, however, came at the MTV Europe Music Awards in Stockholm on the 16th of November. Where the girls performed Holler with an explosive, slick production. It was simple but effective. This would be the group's final public appearance for almost 7 years. The album peaked at number 2 on the UK Albums Chart following a feisty chart battle with Westlife. This meant Forever became the only Spice Girls studio album not to take the top spot. It was clear. The lack of promotion and momentum combined with the new music direction, despite tapping into the current sound, had unfortunately set the tone for the album's level of commercial success. Still to come. We take a look at Forever's global impact, cultural significance, and complicated legacy, so stay tuned. Get ready to spice up your 2026 with these new Dr. Spice collection goodies. The 2026 calendar, the 2026 diary, and the notebook. All celebrating Spice memorabilia from 1996. The calendar features 12 beautiful display photos of 1996 items along with historical information. The diary features a 1996 memorabilia cover plus 30th anniversary dates. And the notebook has 120 lined pages inside the 1996 memorabilia cover. Link to buy online is in the description below this video. Take a trip back to 1996 and celebrate 30 years of Spice with the Dr. Spice collection. Out now. The album sold far fewer copies than their earlier albums, which had both surpassed 20 million units. In the US, Forever reached only number 39 on the Billboard 200. Despite both its leaning towards American R&B and the band's previous success stateside. Victoria and Emma, who were not, at the time, embarking on solo releases, traveled to the US to promote Forever. Whilst Mel B and Mel C remained busy in other territories, promoting both Forever and their solo albums. This split approach to promotion was a first for Spice Girls releases, and perhaps diluted their group appeal. Sources vary on the exact global sales figure. Some list over 2 million copies worldwide for Forever, whilst others claim the sales are now closer to 5 million. Whatever the truth, it sold a fraction of its predecessors, and allegedly caused some friction at Virgin Records, as Forever's lack of sales was blamed on the overshadowing success of Mel C's solo album Northern Star, which actually sold a similar amount to Forever. While Forever still did well in the UK by normal standards, and had 2 #1 singles, in the US and elsewhere the impact was less pronounced. The US figure, number 39 on the Billboard 200, suggests that the group's American momentum had waned. Other countries certified the album as gold and platinum, but it was sadly compared to their previous success, and ultimately deemed a bit of a flop by both the media and the music industry. That said, musically, the album was indeed impactful. Goodbye reached #1 in several countries, whilst Holler, Let Love Lead the Way also charted well globally. As well as becoming many fans' favorites, these singles were joined by other great tracks such as Right Back at Ya, Tell Me Why, and Oxygen, making Forever, on the whole, a quality record. The Spice Girls were more than a music act. They were icons of girl power, 1990s pop culture, fashion, identity, and a global sensation. This album, by virtue of coming late in that arc, stands at an interesting cultural crossroads. The move toward R&B and a more mature sound signaled that the Spice Girls were growing up. As the world and their fans aged, this album served as a bridge from 90s pop icon status toward 2000s adult pop, adult contemporary territory. That shift itself is culturally interesting. Pop acts often struggle with how to evolve without alienating their base. Forever, despite its lack of support, is an inspirational example of how to bridge that gap. Also, the album represents the end of an era for the group in their original pop-dominant form. With Geri absent and solo careers looming, Forever becomes a cultural marker of the original brand winding down. It's significant because it signals that even the biggest pop phenomenon has a life cycle. From a fan perspective, Forever occupies a special place. Some fans feel it is underrated. Others see it as the beginning of the transition. It holds nostalgia for the late 90s peak and also reflection of early 2000s change. It also offers some interesting musical experimentation for the group. Not huge departures, but noticeable evolution. Another aspect. In the context of the Spice Girls' wider legacy, Forever serves as the narrative closure of their studio album era until later reunions and compilations. That in itself carries cultural weight, acknowledging that pop stardom, not unlike other major cultural phenomena, has phases. For example, the inclusion of Goodbye from 1998 on the album is symbolic. It ties the change in lineup and era into the record itself. It also acts as a farewell gesture to the original lineup era. Culturally, that track anchors the album as a transitional moment. So while Forever might not have had the chart dominance or sales of its predecessors, its cultural significance lies in its representation of change. Pop culture change, group evolution, and the beginning of a new millennium.
another reason for calling the album Forever is like, you know, even after we're gone, but you know, what we've achieved and what we've done for the country and for the music of the country will live on forever, you know.
With the band focusing mostly on celebrating their first 2 albums, and including only Forever singles in their reunion tours, what is the legacy of Forever? Well, firstly, it remains the final studio statement of the Spice Girls in their studio album phase. It is the only album without Geri Halliwell, making it unique in their discography. Secondly, the album's performance and reception offered lessons for pop groups about transition and reinvention. The shift to R&B input, more mature themes, and evolution of personas is something many acts attempt. The Spice Girls did so publicly and boldly. Thirdly, for fans and collectors, Forever holds a special place, being seen as underrated by some and a hidden gem of the group's catalog. The songs on it remain part of the Spice Girls story and are often revisited in retrospectives. At the time, Victoria Beckham actually stated it was the best Spice Girls album, and thanks to Forever's collectibles being so rare and few, the album itself remains somewhat of a fascination. This is compounded by the longing for the unreleased demo tracks recorded for the album, particularly those from the Richard Biff Stannard sessions, such as Fan Favorite Woman, which has, as of the time of this video, been subtly teased by the band as part of the album's 25th anniversary celebrations. And finally, its legacy within the group's broader history. After Forever, the Spice Girls went on an indefinite hiatus in December 2000 to pursue solo careers. The album thus effectively closes a chapter of their peak career. Later reunions, compilations, and tours were built on legacy rather than new studio recordings. The album reminds us that sometimes an act must evolve, and that sometimes such an evolution is commercially difficult. But still, it can be artistically meaningful. With its many mysteries and what-ifs, plus its spicy tracks tinged with American R&B, Forever stands up as an impressive and bold piece of work, yet simultaneously represents a difficult time for the band. With distracting solo careers, members needing space away from the group, and a fast-changing musical landscape, it's remarkable that Forever was completed to such a high standard and sold enough copies to be certified as successful. It's not like its predecessors, but it never tried to be. This was the album of change, an album of its time, and an album that marks a significant turning point in the group's career. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Forever. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for new releases, and drop a comment below. What's your favorite track from Forever? Do you think it's underrated? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, keep celebrating pop history, and as always, stay spicy.